Hello everybody, this is an EGG1E1 production, and welcome to Voltz. This is the Voltz world, and today I'm going to talk about the one thing that I love in Voltz, and that is missiles. So let's just show you a quick demonstration of what I'm talking about and what I'll be talking about today. Missiles. So, there's different types of missiles in the game that cause different types of devastation and cause different effects on your world, and I'm going to go through them, and I'm also going to show you how to start setting up and build some missiles and stuff. So let's first talk about this setup here. This is the missile launcher setup. So we've got the missile launcher and stuff like that here. And there's different kinds of these that you can have. So if you go into Voltz, if you've got your inventory up, there's two different useful types of inventory. There's one for all of the Voltz stuff and one for normal Minecraft stuff. And you'll find all of the stuff that you use for the missiles and stuff in ICBM. So the first thing that you want when making a missile is a launcher platform, and there's three different tiers. There's a really good tier, and a okay tier. So let's go ahead and put all three down. These are the three tiers. So green is not too bad, and blue is just super amazing, and red is the one in between. Also, you need control panels, so you can control where they go and all that stuff. And yet again, there's three different tiers. There's tier 1, tier 2 and tier 3. Tier 1 is green, tier 2 is red and tier 3 is blue. And you can program different things onto the control panels as they progress on in awesomeness in the tiers. And also you have support frames. And what these do is make your missiles super accurate, and the higher your tier support frame, the more accurate they become. So these are like your main launcher platform setup things, and I'll just go through some of the crafting recipes. So for a launcher platform tier 1, you need some bronze ingots and either a basic circuit or a control circuit. For tier 2, you need an advanced circuit, your tier 1 platform and some steel. And you need an elite circuit, some steel plates and some launcher for a platform tier 3, sorry. And I'll just quickly go through these and show you all of the different ways of making these. These things are relatively easy to make. The launcher support frames, they're quite cool. So yeah, the one thing that you will need is power. Now, how you go about getting yourself power, I'll leave that to you. You can watch other tutorials on how to get power. But for demonstration purposes, I'm going to get a bat box. I'm going to use copper wire to connect the bat box to the launcher pads. And to charge the bat boxes, I'm going to use 3 infinite batteries. So what you want to do is you want to power the command, the launcher control panel, which is what I just clicked on there. You want to supply the control panels, with the power. So I'm going to go ahead and put the bat boxes next to them and connect the bat boxes, or battery boxes, to the control panels with the wire. So they're nice and connected, so we'll supply these battery boxes with energy. There we go. Now, one thing to note is as you go up in scale, as you go up in how good these launcher controls and the launcher pads and all that stuff, as you go up in tiers, it requires more power, so you're going to need to take that into consideration. I mean, I'm totally fine with just launcher 1, to be honest. I quite like it. So that's generally what I use. They're easy to make, but of course if you want really accurate, can go really far and all of that. and want to use the best type of missiles, then you want to use these. So these are almost set up. All you need to do to finish their setup is to supply them with a redstone current. Now this redstone current will launch the missile that you have on them. So all I do generally is just have a lever next to it. This isn't the only way that you can fire them, but this is the way that I usually do it, but I'll show you the other way as well. So let's just set it to day so you can see better what we're doing. Now there's different ways of firing these. So say you have a missile on them and you want to fire them. There's different ways that you can fire them. So you have this set up, you have a missile in it, which I'll talk to you about later, but how do you fire it? So I'll show you the ways that you can fire it. So in ICBM you can either use a radar gun or you can use a laser designator. Now for the first, oh dear, I just destroyed that. Let me put it back. For the launch control panel number 1, you can, there's 3 different ways of doing this. I'm not sure if I said 2 earlier, but no, there's 3. You can either change the coordinates to where you want it to fire to, which I find is very fiddly. You need to go over here, press F3, oh this is the coordinates. But sometimes it can be good. But generally I don't do this way, so you change it to whatever coordinate you want it to fire it at, and then you press the signal, you send a redstone signal to it while there's a missile inside it. Another way of doing it is right clicking with the radar gun. Make sure you've got your radar gun charged up so it's got enough power in it. Right click where you want to fire your missile. So say I want to fire my missile at this herd of sheep over here. Then what you do is you go away sheep please, is you right click on the control panel that you want to fire it with. So I've programmed all of these to fire at that herd of sheep. That's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is using a laser designator. Now this is quite a good way of doing it, but the only problem is you can only use a laser designator on the highest tier, the blue tier, tier 3 of the launcher control panels. But the way that you do use it is you need to set the frequency of the launch control panel. So let's say we'll set this frequency to 1, and then you right click on the control panel that you want to fire the missile with your laser designator, and now both the laser designator and the control panel have a frequency of 1, and then all you do is you right click where you want to fire the missile using the laser designator and it will fire it. So I'm now going to show you firing some missiles. The way that you find the missiles is in ICBM in number 2, so you go to number 2, ICBM, and you have this big list of missiles. Now you may notice that the colour of the missiles is different for each missile, so you've got nuclear and all conventional ones, which you saw me fire at the start of the video. But basically all this means is the green missiles you can fire with either the green, the red or the blue. So you can fire the green missiles in every missile launcher in the game. The red missiles you can only fire in the red and the blue. You can't fire it with the green. And the blue missiles you can only fire it in the best launcher. And also the black missiles, which are quite evil. I don't use them because they're very bad. You can only use these ones in the best launcher. So the way that there's 2 ways of putting a missile in the launcher silo. One way is placing a missile. You right click on the missile launcher platform and you just click and put in a conventional missile. Or you have a conventional missile in your inventory and in your hand, and You just, okay, apparently not, you don't do that anymore. It used to be that you can just click on it. I think you still, oh there we go. You need to make sure that you click on the launcher panel onto the launcher platform, and all you do is just right click when it's in your inventory. So right click and right click. So all three of these missiles are loaded, they're ready to go, and let's now launch them. So this one we set up, let's click the sheep again to make sure we've got it all sorted, and we click on the launcher control panel, and then all we need to do, that launcher control panel is set to make the launcher platform fire at that coordinate. All you need to do now is let the launcher control panel have a redstone signal, and it will fire off your missile. So here we go, the missile's firing, and it's coming down, and it hit a few animals and stuff like that. And because it had a launcher control, a launcher support frame tier 1, it was not the best accuracy, but it was a lot more accurate than if you didn't have a support frame at all. So here we go, let's fire a red missile, and they sort of, the green are not too powerful, red are quite powerful, and then blue is like super powerful, black being the most powerful, and quite crazy how powerful they are. So the red one I'm going to fire as a fragmentation missile, which is slightly more powerful. And with the launch control panel, the red one, you can set the detonation height, so how high it detonates off of the ground, and lock height, which is something else. Okay, so let's set this to, we want to set this a little bit further away so it doesn't blow up our display over here. And we'll set the coordinate that we just scanned into our radar scanner onto the red control panel, the launch control panel tier 2, and we'll just fire that missile. So that missile is going to fire off, and it's going to hit the ground somewhere over there. And sometimes these lag so they hit the ground. But yeah, that's a fragmentation missile, fragment missile, and it's a bit more destruction than the conventional missile, and it says fire everywhere, so I guess it probably sets fire to everything and all that stuff. Now, for this last one, I'm going to demonstrate using the laser designator, sorry. And all you need to do, that is set to the frequency, so frequency, let's set it to 2. We'll set it, so there we go, the laser designator is set to frequency 2, and all you do is right click where you want to go, and it calls in an airstrike. So there we go, it's going to launch. There we go. So that's, I find, slightly easier, but you do need the higher level of launcher platform and control panel and all that stuff, but I find that a little bit easier. And boom, that, oh god, it sort of sucks you in slightly, so I'm being sucked in, and it spawns in a load of Endermen, which is brilliant. So yeah, we have Endermen all over our world. So that's what that does. So that's demonstrating the way that you launch missiles, and the way that you set up the launch displays. Also, the difference between the launcher control panel. This one you can set a frequency as well as the height. This one you can set the height and the detonation and all that stuff. And this one you can't do much. So apparently that's ready to launch. It's not. So let's just mess around with a few missiles. I'm just going to show you a few more of the missiles, and it'll be a little bit fun. So why don't we use a nuclear missile? I'll show you the nuclear missile, and then I'll show you the big, bad, evil, stupid, crazy black missiles. So here we go, we're firing the nuclear missile. That's me using the laser designator. It didn't do that before, but it has done now. The little green light. And here we go, here comes, I think this is a nuclear one. I hope this isn't too close to the spawny thing. But boom. Lots of explosions. And it also leaves nuclear waste everywhere, which is the green stuff that you see. So yeah, quite widespread devastation. So you can have a mess around with these different type of missiles when you're playing Voltz for yourself. I've told you how to use them and how to set them up so you can have a mess around. I'm just going to show you the two crazy ones that I don't use much, and you will very soon see why. Let's demonstrate it's the antimatter missile in here. It's the antimatter missile. This is quite a crazy missile. So we'll set the frequency, make sure this frequency is set to 1 or 2, let's go to 2, and we'll set the laser designator to frequency 2, and we'll set the time to day so you can see what's going on. Now this is pretty devastating, so before you do this on the server, make sure that you are prepared to what's going to happen. So there we go, calling in an airstrike over there, the missile is going to launch. Here we go, there it is, and it's launching into the air. Now this missile is pretty crazy. It goes very high as well. It's quite impressive, but pretty crazy. So it's going to go through the clouds. There it is. And it's going to hit the ground. Here we go, and boom. You might be able to see it. Huge lag. And yes, one of the biggest devastation missiles in this pack. So don't go into using that missile lightly. It's very big, very impressive, and not nice to use on your friend if neither you or him are expecting what's going to happen. So let's just demonstrate the red matter one over here. And this one does quite a bit of devastation, and you'll be able to see what's happening, what's going to happen. It's not like the antimatter one, or the nuclear one. Oh, where did that go? It's a little bit different. So what it does is it spawns like a wormhole, and this wormhole, for one, probably lags you out very much, and it destroys everything in its path, which isn't good. So yeah, that's the antimatter missile. This is how to do missile launcher, and I've been EGG1E1 with EGG1E1 Productions. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to have a fiddle around with all of these different types of missile, and thank you very much for watching. See you later.